SARS has changed the way it determines allowable medical contributions. Although legislation says that Code 4005 allowable contributions consist of the taxpayer's contributions plus the Code 3810 taxable portion of any employer's contributions, SARS is now using the employer plus employee contributions actually received by the medical aid as allowable contributions. We have changed the medical tax credit calculator screen in WinTax to suit SARS's new method. The example IRP5 screen in WinTax shows a case where a taxpayer received a salary of 300,000 Rand and the employer and employee each paid 50,000 Rand towards the employee's medical aid. Remember that the employer's contributions are taxable in the hands of the taxpayer, just like a fringe benefit. In this case, the employer's Code 4474 contributions of 50,000 is taxable as Code 3810 and is added to income. This means that the Code 4005 allowable contributions consist of the taxpayer's 50,000 contributions plus the Code 3810 taxable amount of 50,000 Rand. The total allowable contributions are therefore 100,000 Rand. In this example, there's also a Code 4493 contribution of 30,000 Rand made to the taxpayer's medical aid from a pension scheme. This would normally be on a separate tax certificate, but I've added it to this IRP5 for convenience. Code 4493 amounts paid from an outside source where the amount is not taxed for pay-as-you-earn at source, or what SARS calls no value amounts, and they cannot form part of allowable contributions. Note that the Code 4005 pre-populated amount that SARS shows on the ITR 12 will include any Code 4493 no value contributions. Let's have a look at the deduction screen for medical claims. The taxpayer is also claiming 10,000 Rand out-of-pocket medical costs that were not reimbursed by the medical aid or anybody else. These costs will affect our tax credit for contributions. Let's have a look at the medical tax credit calculator. Now this is where the changes to WinTax come in. Similar to before, the contributions listed on the IRP5s are shown in the yellow fields on the right, but there is no longer the option to merely accept these amounts by clicking on a button. You now have to enter the Code 4005 and 4493 amounts actually received by the medical aid in the white fields yourself, and this makes this calculator more flexible. If you are happy that the Code 4005 and 4493 amounts imported from the IRP5s and shown in the yellow fields are what the medical aid fund actually received, then you can merely copy and paste these amounts in the yellow fields into the corresponding white fields for processing. If you know that the IRP5 amounts in the yellow fields are not what the medical aid actually received, then you can enter the amounts actually received by the medical aid into the white fields, and you would get these amounts from the medical aid fund certificate. Let's say the certificate from the medical aid said that the fund actually received 130,000 Rand for Code 4005 plus 4493, of which 30,000 Rand was for Code 4493. In fact, if this taxpayer was self-employed with no IRP5, then there would be no amounts in the yellow fields, and you would simply enter the contributions that the medical aid fund received from him in the white field right here. As Code 4493 amounts are no value amounts and cannot be used in the calculation of tax credits, the amount in this total allowable medical aid fund contributions field will be used in the calculation of medical tax credits for contributions. WinTax will automatically subtract any Code 4493 amount from the total of Code 4005 plus 4493 contributions. Please click on the blue info button for more information. Notice that before we entered any allowable contributions, SARS does not allow any tax credits for beneficiary members. SARS says no allowable contributions means no medical aid. Therefore, medical tax credits will only be considered for out-of-pocket expenses. In this case, the out-of-pocket expenses costs are less than 7.5% of taxable income, so there are no medical tax credits at all. Watch the video explaining SARS's calculations for working out medical tax credits.